The old train rumbled down the tracks, cutting through mist-covered plains and forgotten cities where no lights burned anymore, carrying a single passenger, Rowan Miles, a man with no destination but one purpose, to reach the last stop, wherever that might be. He didn't remember boarding, didn't recall purchasing a ticket, and yet he sat quietly in a velvet seat, hands folded, eyes tracing the patterns of frost forming on the window. The world outside was broken, but not in a way that seemed violent, more like abandoned, paused mid-motion, like a painting half-finished. Towns without names blurred past, trees grew sideways, rivers looped backward, and in the far distance, shapes moved not by physics but by decision. The conductor never showed his face, only a gloved hand that extended from shadows, silently collecting the ticket Rowan didn't remember receiving. Occasionally, the train would stop. The doors would hiss open to stations overrun with moss or platforms floating in the void, but no one ever boarded and no one ever disembarked. Sometimes, Rowan thought he saw people standing just beyond the reach of the light, not humans exactly, but echoes of them, as if the station walls remembered the lives once lived and mimicked them out of loneliness. Time had lost meaning. Meals appeared without a server. The lights never dimmed. Conversations drifted from empty booths like radio static, talking of things long gone, empires, revolutions, planets that died singing. Rowan began to understand that this train was not of Earth, not anymore. It was a vessel between endings, a liminal current drifting through the layers of lost realities. And he was not the first passenger. He found their journals tucked in drawers, etched into the glass, carved beneath the seats, messages from others who had waited, who had wondered, who had reached the end. Some spoke of redemption, some of horror. A few simply begged not to. Get off. Rowan's own memory was porous. He could remember his daughter's laugh, but not her name. He remembered a fire, but not what started it. He wore a wedding ring, but no face came to mind. Each night the dreams returned stronger. Dreams of cities falling upward into the sky, of roads paved in teeth, of a faceless woman whispering, "It ends at the last stop." He began to explore the train, moving from car to car, a dining car filled with food he couldn't smell, a nursery without children but filled with cribs that rocked themselves, a car that contained only mirrors, hundreds of them, none showing his reflection. In one car, he found a theater playing scenes from his life, memories twisted, out of order, often with different endings than he recalled. In one film, he saved a boy from drowning. In another, he let him go. The train was testing him, measuring his choices, weighing his soul in metaphors. Then one day the voice came, not from the speakers, but from within the walls. It asked questions. Who are you? Why did you get on? What are you willing to sacrifice? It never demanded answers, only watched his reaction, and when he refused to speak, the train changed. The windows turned black, the halls elongated, gravity reversed in bursts, and shadows took longer to follow his steps. He began to see passengers, flickers in the periphery, faces he knew, people long dead. His mother humming in a smoking lounge, his brother reading a book that burned without ash, his wife waiting with empty eyes in the corridor. None spoke. All watched. The farther he traveled, the more personal the train became, reflecting his fears, regrets, and failures. A corridor lined with doors to all the times he chose wrong. He passed them without opening, but each handle burned a little longer under his fingertips. At last, a door marked only with a handprint opened by itself. Inside, he saw a version of himself, thinner, sicker, sitting across a table. They talked without words. This other self said he had gotten off too early, chosen to forget, and the price was being stuck in a loop of shame. The last stop isn't a place, the other said. It's a decision. Then he dissolved into dust, and the door vanished. Rowan awoke in his seat, heart racing. The train was slowing. The lights flickered. The speakers crackled for the first time. Last stop approaching. He stood, trembling. Outside, the fog cleared. The platform was made of glass, suspended over a black ocean that pulsed with stars. No structures, no signs, just a bench and a child sitting on it. His daughter, unchanged, smiling sadly. He stepped off the train, and the doors closed behind, him with a sigh, not a hiss. The train remained for a moment, then evaporated like breath on glass. His daughter stood, holding out her hand. "You remember now?" she asked, and he did. He remembered the fire, how he'd saved himself and not her, how he ran from the guilt, how he begged for another chance, and how the train came, offering one final journey through the ruins of what he'd been. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "You tried," she said. "Now try again." The ocean rippled, and the platform split into 100 paths, each one leading somewhere new. "What is this?" he asked. She smiled, fading into light. "A choice." The darkness did not pull him in. It waited respectfully. And for the first time, Rowan stepped forward not as a passenger, but as someone ready to face the end, or a new beginning. Behind him, the last stop disappeared. Ahead, something stirred. Not a promise, but a possibility.